Welcome to the channel, viewers. Coleroy on the northern beaches. Alright, so right up to, I'm not sure where that goes to. It's pretty windy. Well, I've listened to a few talks lately about academia and people that have just teaching from their experience, and that's really difficult because there is a place for trained, educated psychologists and all these types of people that help people, and then there is the testimonial side of it where people have experienced certain things and that's how their life's turned out. That's how their life, what they've learned from their experience. And you have to balance between the two. It comes down to your ability to learn, your ability to understand, your ability to comprehend and work out what's good and what's not from what people are saying. And I think everybody has an experience. I think, the people that I've been with, if they shared their side of it, there's two sides to every story, and it's up to them what how they want to share that and all the rest of it. But I've always set out to, be someone that adds to the relationship. Like in my second marriage, the son moved in, and he couldn't even wipe his ass properly. She'd have to clean the toilets after him, and it was just a disaster. Wouldn't pay rent. I ended up having to ask him to leave. But they have to take accountability for that. I can't take accountability for people that are pulling down principles and standards and the normal ins and outs of life. That's that's not something that any of us should tolerate. Disrespect and humiliation and demoralisation. That woman was totally demoralised. She knew she had to go. She knew that boy wasn't capable of behaving right. He was too spoiled. He wasn't from the culture that I'd come from or been in. He wasn't from that culture. And so that made it hard for him. She put him in an impossible situation. She put herself in an impossible situation because she couldn't and he couldn't navigate the way that I lived, which was quite simple, really. It was a very simple way of living. It wasn't hard. But it was just too much because these people were spoiled. Completely spoiled. They were spoiled beyond comprehension. They couldn't work out how to deal with stuff that people should have known, that people should have been aware of. We couldn't cope with that, and so that was something that was very undermining for me, but too difficult for them. Tammy, I'm just doing a video. That was just too difficult for them, and this undermined the marriage. Whose fault was that? There's a lot going on here at the moment down at Coleroy in the park. But these mothers are putting their adult children to situations that they're just not mature enough to cope with, then it's all too late once you're in a relationship with them and they don't know how to cope with it. I mean, you can be tolerant, you can be fair, but once these people go hostile, and I mean hostile, and they'll go hostile, then that's something that you just can't tolerate. You can tolerate it. I tolerated the last one for 9 months, triangulated, affecting the relationship and influencing this woman from, behind the scenes. But I couldn't. I just got to the point where I couldn't take it anymore because a family event come up and it was like we're all going to go together like nothing was wrong. And that was it for me. I just thought, no, I'm not playing that game because that's what narcs will do. They'll drive you around the bend and bring you into trauma and then pretend that nothing's wrong. They'll act like nothing was wrong. Well, no, I'm sorry. When you've traumatized someone and pushed their tolerance beyond what they can bear, don't just think people are going to just waltz up for like a family event like nothing was wrong. That's not going to happen. That's just not going to happen. That's just not how it works. But that's what narcs do. They think nothing's wrong. They think nothing's going to happen. They act like, they haven't affected anybody because they're not responsible or accountable, nor are they self-aware. They're not self-aware either. There's no self-awareness whatsoever. And so you constantly find yourself on the end of micro-incremental abuse, and if not blatant, overt abuse. And that's really hard. Really, really hard. Because you're trying to build a relationship with this person and they're turning up, but they're not resolving anything. When things aren't resolved, that just makes it too hard. It's all too hard. You can try and tolerate it. You can, well, I'll tell you what I learned. You can work in tolerance and show tolerance, but while you're trying to show tolerance, you can be going into trauma. You can have trauma working at your psyche and at your health and at your mind, because while the matter's not being resolved and you're showing tolerance, the longer it's not resolved, the more opportunity there is for trauma to embed itself into your mind and into your body. People suffer illnesses, sicknesses, stomach problems, skin problems, and all that stuff. Good. I think good. Yeah. Yeah. Right. So you'll get sicknesses, illnesses, headaches, pains, body ailments, and people suffer. They suffer with mental problems after these things, physical problems, ailments, all sorts of health issues, and you can be a perfectly healthy person. You can be a perfectly healthy person, doing the right thing, running the right course, doing the right thing. Like, I never missed a beat with these people. I never missed a beat. And I watched single-handedly what their adult children can do. And it's not about blaming, it's about, well, what could I do? Just sit there and take it? Take hostility and psychological violence, emotional vandalism, all that stuff? What are you supposed to do? Well, you tolerate it for as long as you can, and hello, and then everything will come to a head. It will all come to a head. And usually the children will sabotage the parents. They'll sabotage the parents. Yeah, sorry about that. So, it's not a joke, it's not a game. These people, I believe, they're being genuine and they're trying to love. And they are loving people, there's no question about it. But the interference and the mismatch of cultures, the way in which these people have been parented and shown how to live, can be in such a different formation to what you're used to or how you are, that something has to give. And that is usually going to be the relationship, the female that you're with, the male that you're with will return back to the child. In some cases, this can be habits and alcohol and other things. It can be religion. They'll return back to their religion. But whatever it is, it's all conflictive and it's all out of sync, and there's no compatibility psychologically. The domestic cultures and formations in the minds of these people just can't fit with yours. And that's why a lot of you people lose relationships, because you've been triangulated. That's what it's called, triangulation. And that's how people get pain and harm. It happens all the time. None of it's deliberate, it's just cultural. I'm Reverend Dr. J.W. Morrison, theologist. Thank you for joining me. Bye.